The Flash was directed by Andy Muschietti and released recently in theaters to a massive disappointment at the box office. Seriously, this weekend was tough. The Flash didn't do as well as people would hope, and Elemental was the weakest Pixar opening of all time. Of course, this video will contain a spoiler section. I'll have a time code on the screen so you can go there and hear my spoilery thoughts. If you haven't seen the film yet, then you're going to want to click off before that point and then go watch the film and come back and hear what I have to say. Now, this movie, oh gosh, Ezra Miller. This movie has built up so many different levels of hype and also disappointment at the same time, where people were saying, oh, this is one of the best comic book movies ever made. James Gunn said that. The man who directed one of the best trilogies of comic book movies. He said that. Tom Cruise also said he liked it, which, personally, I think he should stick to jumping off of mountains. This is not the best comic book movie ever made. We'll get to that in a second. But with that, also, Ezra Miller has done a load of bad stuff that I'm not even going to get into right now. But I'm going to say it right here. Ezra Miller in this film, he does do a fine job of carrying the movie. When it's focusing on him, he is doing an alright job holding it together. And despite him being an absolute load of crap in real life, I have to give him credit where credit is due. See, it's difficult because I don't know the timeline between when they filmed this movie and when he did all of the stuff. I don't know. But from the time being, I will just try and separate the Barry Allen character from Ezra Miller. So as Barry, as a character, this movie is about him trying to bring back his mother. He goes back in time to try and bring back his mom because he lost her when he was very young. So he wants to make up for that lost time, which seems to be a recurring theme in these multiverse movies, where the character just really isn't happy with the way their life is going, of course. So they have to go back in time to make up for things that they've lost, like Peter in Spider-Man No Way Home. He wants to fix his life and make up for the lost time he's had, on the run. And his friends his friends, their lives are being affected by this exposing of his identity. And in this movie, the Flash is like, hey, I need to bring my mom back. I have to undo that. So he goes back in time, breaks the multiverse, meets his younger self, who is very, very annoying. I mean, he is so, oh gosh, he's unbearable at sometimes. He is so stupid. They literally go to Antarctica to break out Supergirl, and then they're like, young Barry is like, oh, why is it so cold here? He's like, because we're in the Arctic, Barry. It's like, why is it snowing? Wow, he is stupid. Yeah, speaking of Supergirl, I want to say that Sasha did a great job. She is fantastic in the role. For the time we get with her, I'll be honest, we don't get a ton of Supergirl as much as I wanted. She wasn't utilized as much as I wanted her to be. But there are news and speculation out now where we could be seeing her in a future film. So I would like to see that. I would like to see her in the Supergirl film. Yeah, I just think she did a great job here. She got the thumbs up from Henry Cavill after he watched the movie, so that was great. Obviously, I would love Henry Cavill to be back in these movies, but that ship has sailed, unfortunately. I'm still upset about that. Speaking of ship sailing for actors, Gal Gadot is in this movie. And, hey, that's not even a spoiler, because guess what? They made a Funko Pop of her. So, she's in the film for a brief portion at the beginning. Ben Affleck's also in there. He does a little bit as Batman, but, yeah, they're really just not planning on using these actors anymore, and it's a shame. They've said, like, oh, we have plans for them, but plans change. I mean, the way they're building up this new DC universe, I don't think it's going to factor in those older actors that we've seen for the past, like, decade doing these roles. It's a shame. It really is. But getting into the main reason that I was excited for this movie, Michael Keaton. He's using the Batwing, he's using all of his gadgets, his grappling hook, beating up thugs and everything. It is a lot of fun. I also like how he kind of serves as a mentor for Barry for a portion of the film, so that was nice to see as well. But getting into the CGI, really, really disappointing. There's a sequence earlier in the film where the Flash has to save someone. He has to save a bunch of people, and the things that he is saving are falling out of a building, and they look awful. They look terrifying. They really do. Yeah, and there are, I'm not going to get into it here, obviously, but there are cameos towards the end of this film in the third act, and they just don't look good at all. I mean, you're happy to kind of see those characters, but at the same time, it's like, the CGI dampens the nostalgia and the emotion that you would feel if it was better. Yeah, I don't really know what they were thinking here. The CGI just doesn't look finished. It looks very rough. And they try to explain their way out of it, and it just does not make up for the fact that you guys just dropped the ball in the CGI. It just does not make up for that. You have the characters going on these arcs that you're supposed to, you're trying to care about it, but then they kind of abandon that. This is not really a movie where you want to watch it thinking, oh, how is this going to carry on to the end of the film? How is this going to come back in some way? Nothing really fully comes together. It doesn't develop a lot of the themes and it doesn't develop a lot of plot points that you think they're going to. It doesn't resolve a whole lot. It just kind of makes for the DC Universe resetting. It just explains that, really, and just adds more to Barry's character. I would say his arc is fine. There's a point in the movie where I was just kind of figuring out where it was going, and that was exactly where it was going. The multiverse stuff, I will say, they do explain it pretty well. There's a scene where Michael Keaton explains the multiverse with a bowl of spaghetti better than, like, any of the Marvel films outside of Across the Spider-Verse have explained it. Obviously, this wouldn't be fair to compare this to Across the Spider-Verse, because that is a much better handled film, much better written. Here, I just think the script needed some tightening here. It's very, I mean, it's almost 2 hours and 30 minutes. I feel like there could have been some tightening in there as well. There's just moments that just don't hit. The comedy doesn't land too much for me. There's some jokes here and there that are fine, and like I said, there's the cameos that are fun to see, but the CGI just kind of drags it down. But yeah, I'm gonna give The Flash a 6 out of 10. It's an above average movie for sure. It's not the best comic book movie. There's a lot of bumpiness to it. There's parts that I really enjoy, and there's parts that not so much. So that's really all I have to say, because there's a lot of spoilers to talk about, so I'm going to get to that in the spoiler section. Entering spoilers, so we get, like I said, a multitude of different cameos by the end. You have Christopher Reeves, you have Adam West, you have the original actor for Supergirl is in there. Nicolas Cage comes in as Superman, a variant of Superman, which would be awesome, and I love Nicolas Cage. He's one of my favorite actors, but the CGI for these guys, they just don't look good. It looks very, like, video game. Like, it's like you're looking at an Injustice game, but it's not even at that level. It doesn't even look as good as those games. Those games are great. This just looks like you're playing on, like, PlayStation 2 or something. It looks very clunky. It does not look very well put together, so they really needed some more time on the CGI. I understand with the Ezra Miller stuff and all the controversy surrounding this movie, and it had already been delayed a great ton. I understand how they wanted to just push this out, because, I mean, this has been... I mean, I remember back in, like, 2019, like, there was images, like, art of this movie, so they've been working at this for a long time. And I understand they wanted to put it out, but unfortunately, does not work. The CGI is not very good. The writing for certain characters is not very good. Like I said, the character arcs that you think they're going to go on and gets resolved by the end, it doesn't really go that way. We have General Zod coming back in this movie. And honestly, the actor, I can't remember his name right now, but even he was like, it wasn't really that worth it. I mean, It really isn't, because they CGI his face into a suit. It's not even physically him there. Like, it's lame. And basically, in the final act of the film, Barry and young Barry, they go to fight Zod with Supergirl and Keaton and Supergirl die really, really fast. I mean, Keaton is trying to take out as many ships as he can, but he tries, he's like, I'm going to take him down with me, because his Batwing gets shot. He's like, I'm going to take some of them with me, and he blows up, and he dies, and then Supergirl gets stabbed right through the chest by Zod, and then young Barry is like, no, we have to fix this, and he goes back in time, And then the same thing happens again. Supergirl gets stabbed and Michael Keaton dies. He bleeds out this time, which was actually much more emotional for me because I love Michael Keaton's Batman. To see him die was very sad for me. I figured it was probably going to be coming, but it still hurt a ton. And then eventually they keep trying to go back in time and back in time and back in time. And then main Barry is like, no, young Barry, you need to stop because this is going to tear apart the fabric of the universe. And I guessed this pretty early on in the film. There's a glimpse of Reverse Flash, and we do get to see him by the end of the movie. Young Barry is Reverse Flash, which I guessed that pretty early on. I mean, mostly, I would think people would probably already know that. I did not. I don't have any knowledge of the Flashpoint comics or the story that goes into that. I went into this movie completely fresh, so maybe that's why I didn't get some things that happen in this. But young Barry ends up being Reverse Flash, and Reverse Flash tries to kill Barry, but young Barry gets in the way and sacrifices himself. So young Barry, Reverse Flash, and then normal Flash are there. Young Barry dies, and he's like, you need to go, and main Barry goes back to the timeline that he started at. Of course, he does, however, change something which alters his reality. He manages to get proof for his dad to be set free. His dad is free. He did not, I mean, it's clear, he did not kill his mom, so that was good. But then, and I was happy to see him, okay? But they used George Clooney. George Clooney is supposedly going to be the Batman for this universe now. Really? I mean, honestly, the Clooney films, are they good? Are they that good? No. The Batman and Robin is probably one of the most hated Batman movies. I love the ridiculousness of it. I mean, it's just, I have a nostalgia for that because I would watch those as a kid, like Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze, Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy. But here, yeah, George Clooney as Batman, really? I don't know, I think the reality must have broken Aquaman as well because Jason Momoa shows up in the after credits scene, and he is now, he's like drunk. Aquaman is just drunk in a bar, and it seems like such a bad way to bring back the character after, it's been years. I mean, the last time we saw him canonically? Yeah, the last time we saw him canonically in this universe was Aquaman, because Snyder Cut is its own separate thing. Oh no, Peacemaker. We saw him in Peacemaker last year. That's right. But anyway, it doesn't matter because when you think about it, he went through that whole arc in the Aquaman film to become the King of Atlantis and kind of learn responsibility, and now he's just getting drunk. I don't like that at all. But yeah, like I said, just the character arcs not being completely fully developed and taken care of. Supergirl and Keaton, they were just kind of utilized as kind of bait to mess with the multiverse some more, kind of push Barry to break it further. It's alright. For the bits that they're playing the 89 Batman music, I was really enjoying it, and watching Supergirl go to work is really enjoyable as well. But yeah, they really should have tightened up on the CGI, written a bit better for the characters, and kind of closing out the arc of Barry, because really by the end of this movie, he meets Clooney, Bruce, and he's like, what is this? And then he's just like, okay, I'll go with it. It's like, what? And they leave it open. They leave it open for Ezra Miller to return. Why? I don't like it. Why would you keep Ezra? And I'm not gonna get into it because I would rant for hours. But that's really all I can get to with this review, guys. I don't want it dragging on for too long. There's a lot of stuff I'm sure I didn't get to or touch on, but you guys will watch the film. You can see other reviews. Sean Chandler talks about, and Austin Burke, they do great reviews. Go check them out. And John Flickinger as well. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, and goodbye.